What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. What I wanted to talk about in this particular game was Jonathan Kuminga, because he's taken a leap right before our eyes. Last 5 games, averaging 26 points and 6 rebounds on 65% from the field, 56% from 3, and 81% from the line. And on the basketball side of things, just no one can keep him in front off the dribble. Like, he's doing most of this in like straight ISOs, straight post-ups, and transition rim runs. Like, it's all his ridiculous combination of size and quickness, right? It's actually ironic because Kuminga turned the ball over on a late post-up of Harrison Barnes on the right block, where I almost thought he was too quick for his own good. He made this aggressive move towards the middle, and Harrison Barnes was trying to cut him off. But Kuminga spun back to his left before Harrison Barnes could get there. And so he ended up spinning right into Harrison Barnes while also taking contact from Sabonis and middle help. And Kuminga struggles to see middle help sometimes, totally normal for a young player, right? And especially one who kind of plays on an island the way that Jonathan Kuminga does. He actually had a turnover a few possessions earlier with similar play where he kind of drove middle and did not see middle help. But again, like, he's so damn quick that he had Harrison Barnes beat and counter moved back into Harrison Barnes before Harrison Barnes could finish being beat, which goes to show you just how incredible his athletic tools are. And then you combine that with ridiculous rim finishing. He's shooting 67% at the rim this year, which for a young wing is incredible. He's great at drawing fouls. He's easily been the second best offensive player on the Warriors over the course of the last couple of weeks. I say all that to say this. Things are getting really complicated on this Jonathan Kuminga front. Now, before Warriors fans go like, oh, Jason, you're flip-flopping, like you said you should trade him. This is new stuff. This is new information. To give you an idea, Jonathan Kuminga has gone for 20 plus points in 5 straight games. He had never even had 2 in a row before this stretch. He had 13 20-point games in his career before that point, never consecutively. So this last week and a half or 2 week sample of Jonathan Kuminga being like 26 and 6, a consistent 20-point a game guy, this is new. This is not some sort of like trend that's been taking place forever. And so basically what I'm saying is Jonathan Kuminga is playing himself through his own leap into making the Warriors situation complicated. Now, to me, because I've also been preaching all in a lot on the Lakers front, and like the Lakers and the Warriors situations are pretty different, right? Like, the versions of trades that I've been pitching for the Lakers involve D'Angelo Russell. You know, who's really good, but like Jonathan Kuminga is as an asset around the league, like many orders of magnitude higher value, right? It's like the Lakers are looking at giving up D'Lo and a distant draft pick. That's not the same as giving up Jonathan Kuminga. The Warriors are looking at giving up a guy who could be on the rise to superstardom right before our eyes, right? LeBron James is 39 years old. Steph Curry is 35. So there's a little bit different level of urgency, right? The Lakers are also just closer to contention, right? Like, they're higher in the standings. They have 12 wins against 500 or better teams. The Warriors only have 7. So for the Lakers, it's pretty simple. Like, of course you want to trade D'Angelo Russell and a future draft pick to try to win it all this year. But for the Warriors, it's officially complicated. As Jonathan Kuminga has continued to get better and better, while the trade options have gotten worse and worse, it's like OG Anunoby's off the table, right? And then it's like, oh wait, Pascal Siakam's now off the table. You know, like all of these little, even just Terry Rozier off the table. It's like all these options are diminishing while the trade value or future potential of Jonathan Kuminga is skyrocketing. And as that is happening, it's just making things more and more complicated. And now I'm not sure it is worth it to make an all-in move for the Warriors. So the question is, what do you do? And in my opinion, it's complicated because as Kuminga's potential becomes more interesting, you have to remember that Steph plays a role in this. Steph is one of the 10 greatest players of all time. I think he's the 5th best perimeter player in modern basketball history. I have him just behind Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. and he's 35 years old. He's having a down season, but I'm not necessarily concerned about whether or not he's still Steph. I think he's still Steph. And so there's like this certain element where it's like, you owe it to Steph to try. But at the same time, Jonathan Kuminga is officially looking like he's too good to be traded. So how do you weigh that? And my answer is you got to do something a little bit on the kind of like ancillary level of moves. And so I got a couple that I offered. Moses Moody and Gary Payton II for Dorian Finney-Smith. So basically turning a bench wing and a guard that can't stay healthy into a 3-and-D player, like a legitimate 3-and-D player that you could start at the 3 next to Jonathan Kuminga and improve the spacing of the team and improve, like, I think Andrew Wiggins has been playing pretty well over the last couple of games. I thought he did a good job on DeJounte Murray in the Hawks game. I thought last night he hit a couple of huge above-the-break threes and made some plays with his athleticism on the offensive glass and around the rim. Like, I think Wiggins is trying to figure it out. But like Dorian Finney-Smith would just be kind of like more of a steady option in that sort of way. And that obviously maintains Wiggins on the roster as a bench wing and an option you can go to if Jonathan Kuminga does turn into a player that struggles in the playoffs. That's the other part of this. Like, as much as my optimism surrounding Kuminga's star potential has improved, do I think he's going to be a star in the playoffs this year? No, but that's just how NBA history works. Like, unless you're one of the truly all-time greats, the guys like Kevin Durant, right? Like, unless you're one of those guys, you don't just walk into the playoffs in your early 20s and dominate. That's just not how it works, right? So, like, I don't necessarily think Jonathan Kuminga is going to be some playoff star right away, but his potential in the long run is what's making this complicated. And so having Wiggins on the roster still is a value. Dorian Finney-Smith gives you another wing, so that's option one. You could also offer the same package for Tyus Jones if you're looking for offensive creation. Like, once again this year, like, Jonathan Kuminga being basically your second best offensive player, not named Steph, although Klay's starting to play better too. But like, you can argue Klay and Jonathan Kuminga as your other offensive options next to Steph is not great, right? Tyus Jones has been one of the best pick and roll players in the league this year. He's getting 1.12 points per possession. That ranks 6th out of 36 players to run at least 400. I think that's a deal that you could get done just based solely on the value of a Moses Moody and what that could mean for the Wizards, right? So like, those are just a couple of options. Now, do those put the Warriors into contention? Probably not. But like I said, you owe it to Steph to try. You owe it to Steph to try to give him more to contend with. But the bottom line is, it's the rise of Jonathan Kuminga, even though it complicates this regular season as it pertains to the timeline, it's undeniably a good thing outside of the context of this season. Like, he looks to be on a star trajectory in a very two-way sense. And like, to put it simply, at the beginning of this year, it's like Jonathan Kuminga can be a star, like that's his potential. Now it looks like he's headed that way. And that to me is a big leap in a positive direction for the Warriors.